Good evening all and welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. I'm JP and it's Champions in style, guys. 5-star performance from the Hoops to lead us into our 4 in a row champions. Joining me this evening is my two good men, Big Alan Stirling and Mr. Ryan Clifford. Alan, how you doing, mate? We're all smiling. Party time at the weekend. Smoke bombs were going off, flares were going off. And that was just Ryan getting ready to go out on Saturday night, man. It was unbelievable. And then obviously we've got the football to deal with. But how are you, mate? I hope you're well and it's good to see you.
Well, I've got to see you guys. Hope everyone's well. Aye, no, it was a tedious weekend, very boring. Not the right hit home a bit, was it? It was just one of these things that happen again and again in Scottish football. So aye, it's getting so tedious. Nah, no, it's no. Brilliant. Champions. Party time. Love it. And aye, well deserved for the team and the coaching staff, the management, etc. Well deserved kind of league triumph. So yeah, happy days, and it's a good time to wear the green and white hoops.
Ryan, I think, as Alan says there, it's a great time to wear the green and white hoops. I think we're in what's called a golden era just now as a Celtic fan for what we're witnessing and what this side are going and achieving for us. But it's amazing, not just to win the league, and it's amazing to win any league, but to do it in such a way, Ryan, where you go and you absolutely blow the team out of the water 5-0, mate. I don't think we could have asked for anything better.
No, I think it's the last 3 or 4 games we've played to win the title. We've won 5-0, I think, roughly like that. So I've always said when Celtic need to win the league or there's a game where they need to win, like basically make sure the league's won trophy day, Celtic normally win by a big margin. I don't know why that is. It just seems to be the shackles go off and they just let it rip. I thought the first 5-10 minutes was decent, and then once we had the first goal, that was it. It was just absolutely, it was basically curtains for United. And we did say that if we got an early goal, that was it. Pretty impressed with a few certain players impressed me, but overall, mate, to be champions again, like Alan says, and me and you said last day, JP, it's tedious, isn't it? It's really boring seeing your team win, and some people have no seen trophies in how many years. People have had kids and they've no seen any trophies yet. I've basically seen everything since I've been a wee nipper. I would say you're right, it's a glorious golden era. But it's really a golden glorious last 20 years, because give or take 4 or 5 years, is it not 16 or 17 out of 20 or 21 leagues we have won? Quite impressive. So I
5 out of the last 20.
Aye. So big plaudits, like Alan says there, to the manager, the backroom staff, the catering staff, the kit man, everybody behind the scenes that makes it all happen, because without all rain, the players don't get the facilities and everything that can make them do the best on the park. So congrats to Brendan. I think anybody that wrote him off or had any bad feelings towards him, I think the full fan base are right in conjunction now that he's the best man for the job. He's the best manager we can get right now, and he leads us to more glory. And I think he's just made everybody just to let everybody know that he's still the top dog. We're still the top team in Scotland, mate, and we just push on now to try and get this table under the bag.
Yeah,
Donald Duck turned up.
I was so happy to see Brendan with his Tom Ford on, he had Mouldies on this time, that way when he kicked the ball back to
George's Guacamakis.
Aye, Quackamakis.
Quackamakis.
Aye. That was good to see the duck turning up as well. Superb, wee bit of banter. That duck's been everywhere. Those photos with that duck a few weeks ago.
That duck's been mad trophies in Taverny the last 4 or 4 years. 3 or 4 years.
That's the one Ryan tried to get halfway a couple of weeks ago.
Aye. He couldn't even pull that bird. But I want to say a warm welcome and good evening to everybody that's tuning in with us across the platforms. We'll come to some comments. And first up, evening JP, Ryan, Allen and the chat. a new name in the comments bar, guys. I've never seen Ryan's name pop up before. Hello, JP, Alan, and Ryan, and of course the chat. Hope you're well, pal. Cheers for tuning in. Our good man Toby from East End Community Radio. Hail, fine people. We all the columns in and out. They had their player of the year dance at they had their own referee of the year dance at the Saturday night there apparently, and I heard the first tune was Just Can't Get Enough, and they were all dancing.
I heard he was in Wonder Bar with John Robotham, wasn't he?
Big John was in with a spit shine, with a moonshine, with that heat he has, man. Big John. He's the only guy I know look like Peraligi Kalina. Closest to the rest. Look alike he's. That was him before he went on holiday for a time. But Paul Maguire in the chat also. Hail, Trips. G-Doc's in. Good evening, all. Lindsay's in as well. She's not even saying hi at us. She's saying hi at her best pal. Look. Brilliant. Tremendous. And then she feels sorry and goes, evening, Celtic family. Aye. Boo. Boo.
It's not boo Santa, it's boo Lindsay, boo.
We're not booing Santa this year, Lindsay. We're booing you this year, then. Stevie's in and all. Hail, champions. MT Celts. What a name that is. MT Celts, Big Rab B. Brilliant, man. Calls himself Rab C, and another one calls himself. It must be your OnlyFans he does that with Ryan, innit? He's Big Rab C, that one. He's Rab B and this.
He's thinking he's trying to change his name so the subscription charge is down, but it's not happening, Rab, unfortunately, mate.
Aye.
It can't Rab B, Rab C. It can't be Rab D because Ryan would want to hold him for the D.
Aye. Looking for Billy Porter's number.
Aye, Big Billy. That's the only time I'll be calling somebody Billy, I'll tell you that.
Aye.
It's not that when you were sitting in his knee. Or was that his knee?
Well, it felt like his knee. I don't know what else it was.
Theo Isaac also joining us in the chat. He says, okay, excuse me. On you go. Speak up. Let's hear you. What you got to say? Tommy 55. Hail, guys. Hail. And Jesus. It's amazing how far we can get carried away with winning titles and everything else. We've got Alexander Cortals. Sounds like a winger that we're signing, doesn't it? But it's not. He says, since Tierney is coming back, bring back Edward, Scott Sinclair and Eric Swiatchenko.
Good players in their prime.
Good players in their prime, aye, but I'd imagine some of them are...
That's why you're getting another night out of the fans. That'll be at the Hydro next year, that comment.
So that Big Rab's turning up his new deck of cares looking for a game of Switch. He's got different letters on the cares. It's A, B, C,
D.
Right up in there. He walks up and he's outside and plunges outside, taking all the banners off you.
Cold beans.
Plunges trying to get a fault through a gobstopper.
Aye. Wondering how that garden hose isn't working. But no, listen, I hope everybody's had a good weekend. Hope everybody's enjoyed watching Celtic at the weekend and whatever else you were up to. I hope it was fun. Alan, obviously, getting back to the start of the game, mate. Obviously, I know we've got a dial in tonight. We've got callers coming in, but before we do that, just looking back at the start of the game, mate, the way Celtic started, that's the last 3 games they've bounced now. As Ryan says, they've scored 5 goals in each of their games, and they've just looked as if, they mean business, mate.
Yeah, it was a bit stuffy at times, but you expect that the way that kind of the United set up. But I think it's right said. Once that first goal went in, it was kind of, that was us. Let's go for it. And I think some of the football we played and some of the performances that we seen were impressive. I'd struggle to kind of criticised many players. Credit where credit's due. Even Adam Ida looked half decent that game, so I'm saying that as well. So it must be decent. So I thought it was a very impressive performance all round. I think every player kind of played their part, shall we say. And I think even you look at the kind of reaction of Nicholas Coon when he scored the goal, I think that was important for him. I think he might have had a bit of criticism, shall we say, that he's maybe not stepped up to the performance level we've seen earlier in the season. But I think the couple of goals that maybe kick him back onto the level that we know he's capable of. So yeah, no, it was a great day at the office all round, and let's hope we take that into the rest of the season, especially next week and the Scottish Cup final, lads.
Yeah, 100%. And talking about offices, our first caller's in the night. He looks as if he's just left the office about 10 minutes ago to join us. So here he is. It's the man himself, dressed like Terry McDermott when he used to be with Eric Black, the coaching staff. It is indeed our man, Francis Lester. Good evening, how are we?
I'm good, boys. How are you?
Right. How you doing? All right.
Not too bad, mate.
I'm good.
You've went for it with that Terry McDermott jersey and that there, aren't you?
Terry McDermott, when did he ever wear a Celtic top?
Remember, that was the first. It was him and Eric Black that came in. Remember, part of John Barnes' coaching stuff.
Did they ever
That
wear-
was the first. That was his first. That was the first thing I remember him seeing the black kind of Celtic.
You're going back a
jersey.
few years now.
I know. I'm showing my age. Ryan will not remember that.
I remember it's not that tart, but I remember what you're talking about. But
You know what I mean, Alan, didn't you?
Aye, but I remember the Harry Enfield with the Scousers sort of say, calm down, calm down, calm down.
Aye.
He's rocked that cash, you know, isn't he? Calm down, calm down, calm down. That's Maryland Daylight.
My hair was
well, Francis.
back in the 80s when my hair was jet black and I had just had the moustache. Everybody used to call me yours or yous. Here's a job. I can do that.
How's things, mate? All right, you good?
Good, I'm good, mate. It was brilliant on Saturday there, especially winning 4 in a row on my wee grandson's 4th birthday. So that made it even more special.
Oh, wait.
The youngest grandson was 4 on Saturday, so the 4 fell in nicely with the 4 in a row. So it was brilliant. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I never saw the whole game. I only saw the first half because I was going to the wee birthday party being held up at Lomond Shores for my wee grandson. So
That wasn't too bad down. The game was done by then.
Aye, it was. Yeah, but it was superb. I thought we destroyed them. But I expected it again, you know. That's the last 3 games. We've battered 5 goals in, you know what I mean? 15 goals in 3 games. Losing only 1, you know what I mean? It's no bad. I hope we batter in another 5 next week.
Yeah, 100%. See these comments are coming in here. See, you know, that's why I'm a gaffer, folks. That's why I'm here. Terry McDermott, when was he at Celtic? Francis, you asked that, I know. He was part of John Barnes' coaching staff. So he came in with Kenny Dalglish and John Barnes. See, Stevie, it's not just a pretty face, mate. It's hard work being here, you know.
That was an era we don't want to remember.
No, mate. But he was there. I think he was there.
I think Jackie's got as much of a clue as John Barnes.
I remember that night at Love Street. I remember the last night at Love Street.
He's as much of a gaffer as John Barnes was.
Aye.
I know. Couldn't you manage a piss up in a brewery?
Oh,
John Barnes couldn't.
Come on, you.
No, it was shocking, man. Terrible. And he's actually slagged us since. I've heard him a few times and he keeps...
He had a go. Yeah, he had a go to Celtic fans for that, didn't he? That's right. He had a go, I remember, not long ago there.
Absolutely.
After that song,
did they not start well, though, and it just all went... Did they not start well and it just went... After Larson did, it just went all tits up?
It started off, I think he won his first 3-4 games, and then things started happening in the team. I think players weren't talking to one another, and there was fights with Berkovic and other members of the first team squad then as well, and then it just all went Pete Tong very quickly.
Big John HATSON didn't want to play with Berkovic because he'd already battered him, hadn't he?
Aye, that's right. No, HATSON wasn't there at that point.
No, but he was on the telly and talking about
it. That's right. When Berkovic was still there in the first year of Martin O'Neill, right enough, but HATSON was kind of like, no, you need to get rid of him before I come, and it was one of the ones, because the two of them Obviously, that
Him
one.
in the face before.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And by the way, HATSON does admit to that. It's not, that wasn't accidental. You know, that was done deliberately due to something Berkovic had said to him. So, but I think there was a lot of unrest in that camp. So, Stevie, to answer your question, mate, Terry McDermott was with us, yeah, for albeit a short period of time. I think it was maybe 2 years he was with us, and then he moved on. But back to the football, Francis. What's been most impressive for you this season in terms of? I know you're going to have a great memory now. Obviously, your wee fella, your grandson's turned 4, and now we've won 4 in a row. So effectively, he's been a real good luck charm the last 4 years.
Aye, absolutely. Aye, especially he's actually autistic and non-verbal. My youngest.
Is he?
Aye,
Right. Okay.
Doesn't communicate, you know. But he's so intelligent, you know. But he's got all the strips, he's got the hoops, he's got the away tap, he's got everything. His dad, my son's got him with all the gear on every game, you know. So he loves it when we're all together because he loves the whole family being together. You know, he's one of the kids that's the things he likes. He likes to get everybody beside each other, holding hands and all that. You know, I think that makes him feel secure. You know, so that's brilliant. You know. Oh, sorry. Oh, fell off.
That's all right, by the way. Francis, to be fair, we're used to that. You ought to see some of Ryan streams at 10:30, man. It's sometimes you're upside down, you're in corners, you're in and out of cupboards.
Well, the vibration is going on.
That's how we knew. By the way, that's how for weeks here I've been all right about Liam Scales because I knew he was all right. You could see inside his cupboard all the time when he was there.
That's what happens when you live in a cupboard. He plays all right, doesn't he?
It's whatever you've got. It's whatever you're feeding him when he's in there.
So it's all home cooked meals and me, mate. Your processed rubbish in here.
Getting back to your question, but about this season, I think we've been superb the majority of the season. All right, we had that wee blip, you know, towards you know, a few weeks back, but ever since Brendan, as I said, read the riot act, as I said the other week there, I said, I don't know what he said, but it's definitely worked because we're coming out and we're battering teams again. You know what I mean? Everybody seems up. I thought Coon was excellent in Saturday as well, and Jota. It was a shame for Jota to get injured, you know. Hopefully it's no a tear, because if it's a tear, that's about 6 months in it. You know, if it's a meniscus tear, if it's just
very good news. It's getting rumoured to now, Francis. I've seen a few reports today, and it's seeming like he's got a kind of fight in his hands to get back for the start of next season. So hopefully that's untrue. But a few of the rumours that are kind of floating about the now, doesn't sound great news, to be fair.
I was talking to my brother-in-law, he went through that, and it took him 6 to 8 months. He didn't play at this level, but he played at junior level for a while, and he done his meniscus. It was a full tear, and it was 6 to 8 months he was out for. You know, so he said, but if it ends up it's just a strain or a pull, you know, a stretch, it could be just a month or 2. You know, so hopefully it's that and no a massive tear. But seemingly, he was telling me that he couldn't put, when he done it he couldn't put any weight on it at all, couldn't walk on it at all. And seemingly Jota's been walking on his, so I'm not sure it might not be as bad as we think. Because
he kind of limped off, didn't he? And I don't know, maybe that was adrenaline, lads. I don't know if that's maybe his adrenaline, but he kind of walked down he walked it down the tunnel. And then when you seen him at the end of the game, when he comes out in a tat, he's offering him a coke carry. And he's like, no, don't touch me, as if I'm in pain.
I know. And it was Celtic Park, up at Celtic Park, he put the clutches down twice. And he was
I never seen that. I seen him doing that, like he kind of doing that with both crutches in the air right enough, but I never seen him putting them down.
They went round to the side and he actually dropped him to the flare and he was stoning.
A pal of mine actually works in the main building, and he informed me on Saturday night that he was in a wheelchair because apparently they had to get his missus to drive their car in round one of the other gate entrances.
But that was under the instructions of the obviously the club, because they don't want him doing any further damage to it.
Yeah. Apparently, so when he was
to isolate it and to show that he didn't.
Yeah, so his missus had to drive in, see the big gates round at the press entrance. The main stand, his missus had to drive in that big gate in order to get the car in to pick him up. But apparently there was before they came out to see the fans, he was actually in a wheelchair.
Well, hopefully it's, as I say, hopefully all that stuff's precautionary to find out the damage, you know what I mean? Fingers crossed, but if it is there, it is there. There's nothing much we can do about it now.
Yeah, so obviously there, lads, asked, Ryan, I'll start with you. I asked Francis there about what's been most impressive about Celtic this season. I think he hits the nail on the head, mate. I think the consistency of the side as well, albeit a small part of, one or two games here or there. But over the course of a season, man, I mean, I don't think we can really grumble at all. And to be as far ahead as what you are as well in the league book's at 17 points now. So it's frightening. It's absolutely frightening. Ryan, me and you spoke on Saturday after the game off camera and everything. And we suggested that, there's loads more. I mean, the scary thing is there's loads more to come for this team. You've got young Sinisalo in goals, guys like Engels. These guys have just won their first proper probably league trophy, and knowing what it's like to get over the line, learning off of guys like Callum McGregor, James Forrest, boys that have been there a wee while, Alistair Johnston, Cameron Carter-Vickers. It's just remarkable, mate. And obviously, again, to keep going and have to do that game after game after game after game after game. You heard Brendan at the weekend as well. Winning's the hardest thing to do, mate. And to do it, these guys make it look easy. But nobody knows and that's what he says, nobody knows about the hard work that, So anybody thinking, St Johnstone beat us and, I've seen comments for Celtic fans giving it Celtic when they trying. You couldn't be any further for the truth. It's just, there's certain games, mate, in a season, you're just not going to hit the heights. And that's what Brendan's more or less said at the weekend. That's okay. But see the end result. The end result is, as I've just called, remarkable.
I actually think the gaps for what we've done maybe the last 3 to 4 months, it's extraordinary, mate, because I think apart from the last few weeks, maybe after January, we've not been great. We're still winning games, still playing some nice football for 45 minutes here and there, but we've not been fantastic. We've been good enough to beat teams in Scotland, and that's the scary part for me. If we go on Sunday, you're talking 20, you might even be 23, 24 points ahead by the end of the season. That's phenomenal. And like you say there, but winning, Casper, listen to Casper's interview after, and he says people say that it's easy up here and the standard's no great. He says, but you still need to go in the park and win. I've said it all along. It doesn't matter how much quality you've got, how much money. You've no divine right to win anything in football. Look at the season that, I keep talking about all the time, right? But the season that we lost, the 10-0 season, right? Guys like Edward and all the guys. Should Celtic lose the league title that year? No, but they did. Due to on circumstances that we did. We lost the league. But then because of the structure we've got behind the scenes, we got big Ange and we bounced back right away. That's what big teams do. Teams that have not got that infrastructure don't do that. So we are built to go on for years behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Financially, the model might get criticised here and there the odd time, but the way the club's going now, it can't be criticised any direction whatsoever, because the way that it's getting to the stage where I said that a few weeks ago actually at one here. It's getting to the stage now where when Brendan's here the first time, where people might say it's entitled, it's spoiled, they might say whatever they want to say, right? But just you as a fan know what you've got on that team lineup and what you've got on the bench. You're turning up thinking, right, is it going to be 3-0 today? 4, 5? Because you're just so much confidence in that quality of team and the setup for the manager that you're going to go and blitz teams. It doesn't always happen. Like we seen with St Johnstone, like we seen at Dundee, places like that, we've not performed, and listen, it happens, but it's getting to the stage where for me, games are wanting to turn on again. The last few weeks, like Francis says, 15 goals in 3 games, down to noon Sunday, probably in their head. If they get an early goal here, start here, whatever we do, it's not going to work because they've got too much quality. And
they definitely knew on Sunday because the game was played on Saturday, right? So they definitely knew that on Sunday.
I'm thinking about Sunday coming. I actually thought Nicholas Coon was brilliant. I thought he was really good. And he'll probably play majority of the season now because Jota get injured, so he'll probably have to play the rest of the season. Well, Brendan had that in mind. I don't know, but it'll probably him and Forrest if the rest of the season unless Yank is back into the fold. But it might look like they two at the end of the season, and I really hope lads like Jota's no going to be long term. I think either way, if he's no or if he isn't or he is, I think either way a new winger's going to be at the club anyway. But I think it kind of pushes your idea a new winger probably before the playoff if he is going to be longer term. But I really hope he's no, because if this is him still getting up to speed, I just hope he's fully fit for next season, because I've got just in my head him and Tierney on the same side. That's going to be a joy to watch Celtic Park next season. But no, JP, it's been brilliant, and look, some performances have not been great and whatever else, but end of the season, if you win a treble, even with a double, mate, it's a successful season. And to wrap up some of the performances recently, it's been a different class, mate.
Yeah, Alan, some clubs struggle to win one trophy. Celtic, I've got this formula, mate, where they're able to go and do it multiple times. I think that's, for me personally, as a Celtic fan, that's what makes it all the more impressive to see it time and time again.
Don't it's a formula. I just think we've got better everything than any other team in the country, to be honest. We've got the best manager, the best players, the most finance, the best infrastructure, the best support network, the best coaching side. So when you've got all of that in place, then you're going to be massive favourites every time to kind of pick up the majority of the trophies. So it's never going to be easy to get complete winning the trophies. It's always going to be a task, because things do happen. Probably the original question was, what have I been most impressed about this year? Probably Europe, to be honest. I think that kind of step forward in Europe's probably what I've been most impressed with. I want to be massively positive that we're going to pick up, and this is what's scary part about it, and what we're capable of. But you're looking at, have we really been consistent over domestically? You're looking at, I don't know how many times we've been on this kind of podcast and we've been saying we've played one half of football good and the other half has been pretty poor. And that's been kind of, at least this calendar year, we've been saying that kind of week in, week out, apart from maybe the last couple of weeks. So we've not been massively kind of consistent in regards to kind of performance-wise, but we've still managed to kind of blow every kind of team aside when you look at winning the League Cup. We're winning the league by a massive kind of gulf, shall we say. It could go 20 points at the weekend, so you're looking at that, it's massive. But what this team is capable of, and with Brendan's been kind of, you seen him after the St Johnstone game, I think he wants to make another number of signings in the summer. If you're looking at, if we bring in another 4 or 5 players that can add to this first 11, then what is this team capable of? And for me, it just shows that it's going to be continued dominance if Brendan gets backed. So for me, back to the original question, I think the most impressive part was the progression we've made in Europe. Might have got a kind of, shall we say, an easier draw, favourable, but we've still managed to go out there and kind of progress to the next stage of that, the new format of the Champions League. I think that's a massive step forward for the club.
Yeah, Francis, Alan touches on the European progression there, mate. I think most Celtic fans nowadays, mate, are looking for that. How well do you judge Celtic there in Europe? And obviously, were you happy with what you've seen this season, especially?
I was delighted. I thought we'd done really well. You know, I mean, that's, as Alan says, that's the biggest thing you look forward to is the Champions League. You know, I mean, that just raises people up again. You know, I mean, you get excited about going to play against these teams of quality for all over Europe. You know, I really enjoyed the games. You know, especially the ones we won. You know, but even their performances, the draw in Italy and. You know, I mean, and the Bayern Munich game, we were really unlucky. You know, I mean, the performance level seems to have went up, and I'm hoping that close season that we up the quality of the playing staff again, so that we qualify for the Champions League again and go a stage further. Because I think if we get the right type of player in to boost the squad, I think we could go further. Because the confidence of the players that are still there, that we know will be there next year, I think will be. They'll be champing at the bit to go again. but we've still got about, I think we've got about 10 or 12 players out on loan now that we need to get rid of. You know, you're talking about like Telio and Thiago Holm and all these other guys.
Francis, do you think any of those players might have a future?
Nah.
No.
There's no. I looked at the
Have
list.
you kind of pretty much looked through the list and then just written them all off then, really?
I've looked at them all and I've wrote them all off. I just.
That's fine. No, listen, that's totally fine.
I have, because
that's it, Alan. I was going to say, obviously, Johnny Kenny getting brought back to the club. I know he's not played any football, but he get kept rather than loaned back out again when he done well at Scarborough Rovers.
Yeah, I think that was only because we didn't bring in another striker. I think that he had to bring him back and keep him there because we only had one striker basically, apart from Dyson Magda at the club. So we had to bring him back when we knew that we weren't going to bring in another striker. I think that's the only reason why he didn't go back out loan. If Brendan thought Morey, Johnny Kelly, would we have seen him with more game time? There has been, even recently, there has been a number of games that the game's been finished kind of quite early on in the game, whether that be kind of half time or just after that. So if he had a higher opinion, then maybe Johnny Kelly would have got more game time. Over Brendan knows that we've not kind of seen enough to make a full judgment, I'd say.
That's quite a big shout, that one, Francis, from you in terms of looking at all the loan players and just right away you're just like, no, I don't think I can see any of them stay.
Well, let me say this, JP. The biggest ones out the biggest three probably, if you look at the players that are out on loan now, would be Palmer, Thiago Holm, and probably, I know Lagerbielke's still out as well.
Yeah.
But players that I just don't see. I don't see Brendan thinking that they're good enough to add, to benefit this squad. I think he wants better quality.
Yeah.
And the rest of them, a lot of them are journeymen. Some of them are young kids, which I think most of them are probably looking to go elsewhere anyway because they know they're not going to get a chance at Celtic,
Yeah.
Most of these players are not getting great reviews either, by the way. The one that probably is getting the biggest plaudits that's out loan is probably Lagerbielke. That's probably the one that you're hearing the most about that's doing relatively well.
Palmer's done okay, isn't he? I think he scored these last couple of games for them, didn't he? Palmer.
Palmer?
I think Lewis Palmer's done okay. Because some of the Olympiacos fans are saying they want to sign him permanently. And they're trying to get a deal done. No, that's fine. I mean, it's not worked out for him at Celtic, but what I mean is that style of play might suit him over there. And also he's picking up a medal over there as well because they've won the title. So he's probably one of the ones that, as Francis says there, lads, that he's probably the biggest one out on loan that we might have spent the most money on individually. But I can agree with Francis there in terms of like guys like Stephen Welsh, and I think some of these guys will move on. I know Stephen Welsh is obviously an academy prodigy to come through the academy, but there comes a point in a player's career where, is he going to play? I don't see him being the next go-to guy in the squad. So I do agree. I think we need to move some of them on. If we can't move them all on, I definitely think some of them will move on anyway. But Francis, obviously, before we move on, in terms of the season, mate, what's been your highlight of the season? What have you enjoyed mostly this season with us 4 in a row?
There's been a few highlights, as I said, in the European side of things. Obviously, the games against the 2 German teams were superb at home and away. At home and away against Bayern, they were standouts. Obviously, the first game against Rangers when we cuffed them 3-0. That was a great. The Aberdeen semi-final in the League Cup was tremendous. I mean, there's been a few. The last 3 weeks it's the most happiest I've been in a wee while, in a few months, the way we've played the last 2-3 weeks. And the good thing about that is we've chopped and changed the squad as well. You adapt and suit, and we've still scored 5 in every game, and as I say, I'm looking forward to the cup final, you know, complete the treble. And I'm looking forward to that because I think we'll hammer Aberdeen. I've said the last 3 games I said we'd hammer Kilmarnock, I said we'd hammer what do you call them, St Johnstone, and I said we'd hammer United at the weekend every week, and I've been spot on. I'm not going to say nothing about Sunday.
Yeah. We'll leave that later in the week for predictions of that one, I think. But no, listen, Francis, cheers for taking the time with us again on Monday. And as I said, I hope your wee man, your wee grandson, enjoyed his birthday.
He had a great day, and so did I. So it was happy days, you know what I mean. So good to talk to you again, anyway, boys. Now catch.
Mate. Take it easy. Thanks for coming on again, Francis. Cheers, pal. Take it easy. Bye bye. Hail, mate.
Hail.
Cheers to Francis for coming on and giving us his thoughts as per. We'll just get right into it.
His highlight was me dressed up as Santa, but who knows, man, you know what I mean?
It's been a long... See, when you think of stuff like that, it has actually been quite a long season, hasn't it? Like, I mean, that Santa thing, when we done the Christmas chat, lads, that seems like mega months ago. Not just a few. Honestly, that to me, it feels as if loads has happened since then, and it just feels like a bit of a distant memory. Although it was a brilliant chat, I really enjoyed the day, and a wee bit of the feast that we all had that day as well, and some of the laugh, and him dressed up as Santa made it even funnier to add the humour and stuff like that as well. But just that general chat was that. If anybody's looking, by the way, you can go and see it. It's in the video section of the channel. So if anybody wants to go and have a look at what we're talking about, you can see it in that. Hint, hint, and all that. No, we elbow towards that. Get that a couple of views. But no, that was a great chat. But it just feels as if that was a long time ago. It really, really does. But without further ado, it is time now for the second caller of the evening. That is indeed Mr. John M. Good evening. How are you?
Evening, lads.
Evening.
Yes, I am fine.
How you doing?
Yes.
Feeling champion, mate. All good.
Aye, feeling champion. Feeling champion.
Championis.
John's got his 3 bars on tonight. It's -17 in Glasgow.
3 bars, I'm okay.
I know. Happy as a dog with 2. Oh no.
You can't say that.
I've got the 3 bars on, and the rest of the scheme's black.
Aye.
It's time to go and put the free kettle on.
Aye, put the free kettle on, aye.
Aye. Got by the local parish man, it's roasting. Believes the good Lord himself likes it toasty. So, John, obviously we're having a wee chat with Francis here, talking about the highlights of the season, talking about Francis's memories of the season. Francis was obviously sharing with us. I don't know if you heard that his grandson turned 4 at the weekend, and
I heard
and that's the beauty of football, isn't it? We've all got a kind of memory, a family relative, or we've all got something that brings back football in your memory somewhere.
Oh, aye.
And obviously talking about highlights, obviously you've been to Celtic Park all season. What's been your biggest highlight in watching this side go and win 4 in a row for us?
Biggest highlight? That's a tough one because there's been so many good highlights, you know what I mean?
You sound like Ryan. I was talking to him the other day about winning trebles. He's like, what one you talking about, mate?
Well, that's that. You know what I mean?
Vodka or whiskey?
Aye. By the way, that was just during the Christmas night out.
There's been a lot of great games
Tequila Rose
this season. A lot of great games this season, but I think the 2 main ones that stick out are the one we just won to win the Champions Cup again, and the one against St Johnstone to get into the final. So I think they stand out, to be honest. But no, I mean there's been a lot of great games this season, and you know, you can nitpick and say, right, we'll pick this one, we'll pick that one. Everybody's got their favourites, but for me, the two main highlights are the one we just won, and the one we won before that to get into the
You
final.
blamed the last two, John, if you just taped all the other games.
I taped all the games.
No, if you taped it,
If you
Alan
taped all
just
the
means
other
if you
games for the
if
rest
you
of the
taped
season.
if you taped over over the top of the other games, you just remember the
Aye,
last two.
aye. But no, basically that's how I see it. That's the two main games. One got you into the final, and the other one won you the Champions Cup. You know what I mean? So, well, and three actually. So the one we won the League Cup as well. So basically, but they're the main ones. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, there's been a lot of good games at Celtic Park. Me and you have witnessed a few games at Celtic Park. But you know, it's been a great season. It's been a great season.
Yeah. Ryan, that's the
my
beauty.
opinion.
Ryan, I think that's the beauty of Celtic, isn't it? Because we all sit and we chat about different memories and we love this player and that player and this and that. And like as John just said there, the last two games. But see when you think about it off the cuff now, when as John says that, massive. One gets you into a final, one wins you the league championship. So again, probably no at the forefront of people's thoughts, maybe not. Maybe they're looking at maybe the 3-0 derby. We beat them early in the season. We beat them in the penalty shootout to win the cup. That was a great memory for us. We were all together. So you know, us we were watching that game in the Boozer that day, and a great day out. But that's what I mean about Celtic, Ryan. There's so many days they give you, mate. That's just so special. That's why it's maybe difficult to pinpoint one or two, but I think they're two great examples that John says, because, like I says, one gets you to the final, another final, should I say, and the other one sets up the league championship for you to then win 4 in a row, which is, again, even saying that out loud, you're like, wow, 4 in a row.
Aye, there's like John says, the games that get you into finals and get the league championship, they're the games because they mean something in terms of they get you somewhere. I think I can agree with John there that they're massive, because I think as well, see the fact that we've won the league now, you're going to Ibrox next week as champions, and I'm not saying the pressure's off you, but you're not having to then, obviously, listen, we all want to win the game anyway, but the fact that if it went to next week and then we didn't win it at Ibrox, they'd be like, oh, no, wait till next week now. But the fact that it's done now, the players can, I'm not saying they'll relax, but they can take a wee edge off the next 1 or 2 days, recover, go at it again for obviously the big game of Sunday. But I would say for me, the two games for me that stand out is the Aberdeen game. I was there myself, and there was a lot of talk about Aberdeen challenging Celtic, and Aberdeen have got a massive, and they absolutely steamrolled them.
At the semi, the League Cup, the semi-final.
Aye, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
the first 5-10 minutes, they weren't great. Aberdeen could have scored, but after that, once we get the first goal, man, it was, the football was frightening. It was quick, aggressive, and it was. I was actually there myself, so not my goal. A few people, I was there myself. I was handling myself, and I was taking the game in, and it was brilliant. It was really good to see, and that was, I think that was a statement for Brendan and players, say, look, nobody's going to doubt us, because a lot of people were doubting, could Celtic.
Yeah, that's right, because Aberdeen had actually just drew with us at Celtic Park, didn't they? Just before that, that's right.
There was a lot of talk about Aberdeen.
Yeah, we were 2-0 up,
There was a lot of talk about Jimmy Taylor, and he was doing well, but we all know when this Celtic team turned up, listen, nobody in this country's beating Celtic if Celtic turned up to the day game.
No.
Even them across the water, they can have a decent A game, but if we have a half decent B game, B, then it's not close. But I think we've probably let ourselves down in the last 2 to 3 games against them. So I think, well, I've listened to a few interviews with McGregor and the manager, and I think Sunday, I think the fact they've had a wee, I think McGregor mentioned that he's had a wee pop at him recently. I think that's gave him a wee bit of warning here. Listen, don't get comfortable in this team. I'll take you if I need to, because that's one reason why I think JP that we'll still see the best of this team, because I think the manager's got a ruthless bit of him now. I don't know if it's through experience and down south or experience being here before, that he just knows that certain players might not cut the mustard, get out the door. Maybe he was too loyal to certain players, I don't know. But I think he's ruthless now. If you're not good enough and you're not playing well, you'll get a team.
Right, do you think it's loyalty, or do you think he's developed a trust and a bond with some of them, mate, and he was giving them an opportunity?
I'll be honest, JP, I do think he's got his favourites. I've said that. I do think he's got some favourites that he plays. Even like myself, Engels hasn't been great the last few weeks, but he keeps playing them. Scales wasn't really playing well. He kept playing them. Trusty wasn't playing well. He played them. Taylor wasn't playing well. He was playing them. There was guys, even McGregor wasn't playing well, but he played them. But I think he's got certain guys, no matter what he do, he always plays them. But I think now that's changing. I think it's changing now. I think if you're not playing well, you're out the door. Nicholas Coon, not out the door, but on the bench. Nicholas Coon played and played. He kept playing right. Not playing well, on the bench. And I think that's one reason why I think we're going to progress even more with him, because I think he's ruthless and I think he won't take any substandard below performances. And that's another reason why I'm excited about Kieran Tierney coming in, because he then raises the standards. He won't set below par training sessions. Every training session will be 100% with him. And that leads into young players and experienced players. Oh, look at him. He's just back into Baldwin. Oh, here we go. That adds to the team. But if you're talking about highlights, mate, for me, it'd be the Aberdeen game. And probably the biggest highlight is winning the League Cup against them in a penalty shootout, because we won the vintage Celtic, we won the great, but
you need to show a big set of cojones, mate, to be able to go and win against your biggest rivals in a penalty shootout, though.
We still won the penalty shootout, we still won the game, and that gave them, shall I call it, a kick in the Hormoz down the stairs. That gave them that was a low blow to them, because they thought, right, we get this, we then try and get closer in the league, and it was a building block for them, and we're totally, that's put them back another year or two, because they always get this bit of hope, right? If we get this right, if we get this play, we win this cup, right? And it's totally put them back down a peg again, 2 or 3. So for me, that, I don't know what you feel, lads, but for me, probably getting the League Cup in the bag was the big thing, because I think that if you get the first trophy, it gives you momentum and it sets you forward for the rest of the season. It's done it for the last few years for us. We've seen it obviously under Rans as well, and that put us towards a good step, because obviously before that, we didn't win anything that season. You get the first trophy and it carries you on. So I think for me, lads, that was the biggest thing, get the first trophy, and that gives you momentum on the rest of the season.
Yeah, Alan, that's the beauty of it, isn't it, mate? There's that many different, when you start chatting about it and you break it down, there's that many different highlights and bits in the season where you go, I remember that, and I forgot about that. Oh, that was brilliant. That was superb. And I suppose that's the enjoyment bit of being a Celtic fan. There's that many good moments as well.
Aye, I'd maybe mention an obscure one when I remember now, it was some laugh. I remember Phil Clement doing the Macarena. Oh, what a laugh that was. That's one of the highlights of the...
Was that when he was trying to talk about John Suter thinking a penalty?
That's right, So, for that's a wee obscure one.
I went on his social media, the music was good.
Aye, so...
I think he was watching Tony Adams, wasn't he?
Aye, Tony Adams, aye.
So, but no seriousness.
That was, by the way, he used to take the stretches in the warm-up and all that.
Aye.
You're looking at the cup final, probably. That I think that always sets a tone, shall we say. Whoever wins that first trophy, it doesn't always work out like that, but the majority of the time you set a tone when you win that first trophy. That just shows who is the kind of dominant side in the country most of the time. So you always like to kind of get that trophy in the bag, because that just kind of shows to any rivals that you kind of mean business. And I think that's what we've done this year. We've won that. I think the first half of the season's probably the best we've played, apart from maybe the last couple of games. And from that point, we've just kind of kicked on. So, no, there's a lot of memories. I think regards to Europe, you're looking at probably the Leipzig game. You look at Leipzig game was very impressive. How close we got to kind of Bayern Munich. Obviously, it didn't turn out great, but it's still, you can kind of hold your head up high that you've managed to kind of come against one of Europe's elite. Aye, one of Europe's elite and relatively hold your own. So yeah, no, it's still a bit of the season to go, so there'll still be some memories to create. And you're looking at obviously next weekend's game and the Scottish Cup final. There might be another few memories there that we remember and cherish.
Yeah, 100%. John, there seems to be a lot of comments coming in regarding the duck that turned up outside Celtic Park. I don't know if you've seen it on social media.
No.
Seems to be making a few headlines, which is why we're seeing things like Virgil van Dijk and Pierre van Hooijdonk, Jackie Quacknamara, Darius Duckcheck,
Douglas, aye.
Jackie Quackanowski. Aye. But aye, good one. That's Rob
So
Douglas.
Was that a ploy or something for the duck to turn up?
I think this guy actually, it's like a pet, so it's been well known. I used to play fives with a guy who stopped and get his photos taken with his daughter up the fort. This guy takes this thing a walk, and it's well known. Like, it turns up in mysterious places. It's been in Braehead, Silverburn.
Was there a wee Celtic bonnet on and a Celtic scarf? No.
Well, it did have. I think it was like a wee Celtic thing round its neck. And Saturday, at Celtic Park, because I've only seen one photo of it. But there's been a comment put in the chat, and a wee bit of tongue in cheek, saying the duck got a tour yesterday, apparently, the stadium. And then there's loads of names coming in now, like Billy Stock and Bobby Murdoch, Duck Beregta, Shinsuke Kwakamura. So there's loads of names coming in, obviously relating to Celtic players. So I do apologise for when I was smiling when you guys were chatting. That's what I was smiling at. Big Georgius Quackamakis. But
Quack Duckland.
Quack Duckland. Aye, Rob Douglas.
Rob Douglas, aye.
So there's loads of names getting popped in the chat. So that's what I was kind of smiling at. But John, there's a comment. I've kept it. Obviously, I was going to ask one of the callers, but since Francis isn't here, I'll ask yourself. There's been a few Celtic fans. I've heard write about this in social media, and there's a couple of guys chatted with me. Ryan, one of them as well, off of this about it. This is for Toby from East End Community Radio. He says, "What's the take on Coon Celebration? There's some fans saying he was having a go at mouth and hand signals towards our comments." I'll get your thoughts first, John, before I give what seems to be the explanation for it and what I've been told. But what was your take on his celebration?
I think maybe he was getting a lot of Celtic fans that were doubting his ability and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And well, you know, there was quite a few people who said that he was up to the task and blah blah blah, this, that, and the next thing. So I think maybe he was just maybe getting at some of the Celtic fans. You know what I mean? This is what I can do when I'm on the park. You know what I mean? But he's not been showing it. So
right, okay.
That's my take on it. I don't know if I mean, everybody's got their own take on it, but that's what I took that to be.
Well, you know? I had a conversation with Ryan, and my informed opinion of it is he was getting a bit of stick for the Dundee United fans down here in the corner.
Right.
So apparently when he scored, it was to them, is what my explanation's been, because I think they were slagging him off, a bit similar to when Adam Ida scored at Tynecastle and he ran over and saluted the Hearts fans
Right.
in the corner. Apparently, he was getting a bit of stick. So, again, Celtic fans will read into things, and you know, people have different takes on them. I never really
I never
paid
thought much
attention.
about it, to be honest.
Neither did I until now. I've seen a few fans mention it, but my understanding is that he was doing it due to Alan. What's your take on it, mate? Did you even give it a thought, or have you?
I seen it. I seen it. They're sitting on the fence. Like, I can see. I like the part that he's kind of. It's annoyed him that he's not been maybe playing that well, because I think he's a football player. He knows what level he's reached in the first half of the season, and since then, let's not beat about the bush. He's been rotten compared to how he's been kind of the start of the season. He's not been anywhere near it. So I like the fact that he's kind of fighting back and kind of making sure they got the 2 goals as well. So, but at the end of the day as well, I don't know. You can see both sides of that. If he is kind of having a go at Celtic fans, then I can see the Celtic fans saying, why is he having a go? He hasn't played well. But then...
Well, they had a go at him.
Yeah, the thing is Toby's put in a wee comment and saying he was being positive. I never thought he was like Toby. I never thought you were being negative, mate. I was just bringing up that because I thought it was a very good point.
I wouldn't read too much into it, to be honest. You've seen it plenty of times with other players. It's not a big deal for me, to be honest. It's just one of the things that sometimes the players are off form a wee bit. They get a wee bit of grief. They're big boys that can pay a fortune.
What's your take on? No, I totally get you, Alan. Ryan, what's your take on it, mate? I'm not
a fan of it, right? I'm not a fan of it, but I've always said that for some reason football was the only sport where players are not allowed to say anything. But if I get criticised for doing my job wrong, or anybody does something wrong, we can go, we talk about, no, I'm doing this. But because you paid this money, because you play with Celtic or Rangers, whatever it is, Barcelona, Real Madrid, you're not allowed to get it back. Well, for me, I think it's wrong. I know you're professional and you need to act accordingly. Us fans pay wages. We don't pay I don't pay mine back, but you know what I mean? We pay tickets, we pay season books, that pays towards wages and everything else. But if somebody's getting slaughtered, like, just for talk's sake, I don't know, just say Greg Taylor, right? I'm his biggest fan. I've given him a bit of jip in the past few years, right? See if he come up on the street like, Ryan, I was a brilliant weekend, get up you. Fair play, Greg. You're brilliant, and I'll accept that because I've slaughtered you and you've proved me wrong. That's absolutely, by the way, I'm fine with that.
Let my Liam out the cupboard.
I'm waiting on Adam Mead to lock me down or something.
But see, it's the only, I don't know what you feel on that, lads, right? But it's the only sport in the world where the fans can call anybody anything in the ground. You're this, you're that, you're shit, you're not good enough, you're hopeless. What you doing out last night? What you doing eating Chinese for your dinner? But then as soon as you do something back, it's, oh, he pointed at me, he clapped his horns. Come on,
so you've got to give and take.
That's what I mean, John. There's a difference if they've been disrespectful and they're doing it in a way where it's bad and they're like, if the manager go to shake his horn and he does that to the manager, things like that, then that's disrespectful to him and the club and his teammates. But if he's just telling the media to shut up, or if it's the Dundee fans, or listen, I'm still here, I'm not moving anywhere, I'm still going to play that, then listen, he's allowed to. I don't know what it is, lads, but as long as he's not been disrespectful, I'm fine with players getting a bit back.
You should feel that, Ryan. See that, Ryan, when we were on holiday and he was shouting about William Scales, shouting this, that, the next time, you know, dogs abuse. And do you know what the thing is? We're watching a Man United game.
I don't know. It's just for me, lads. I just think that.
What you doing?
Aye. That's like the guy next to me, man. He shouts in Tumbo's left side like years ago. I just think for me, lads, football is just a sport where, because you go to the games, or even if you don't go to the game, you can sit and say what you want about a player. But as soon as they come out in the media or they come out and say something back, it's like, why is he doing that? He's getting paid money, he's a professional. The players, that's why I've always said, see if there's an away fan or even at Celtic Park and somebody's going after him like that, just say the guy at the front rows pointing and just say it's Arthur Johnson, you're this, you're that. Josh is what? Shut up. Look, I'm playing on the park, leave me alone. they should be allowed to say something back. But as soon as they do it, it's you need the vessel. You need to calm down. You can't act like that. That's just a sport. Football's, in my opinion, lads, football's the only sport in the world where the players need to be mousies and they can't say anything.
Well, John, there's certain individuals in football we've seen through the years that don't abide by the rules, and they think, I'm not taking this. I mean, look at Eric Cantona for an example. Whatever we said to the good man Eric, he certainly.
Imagine me sitting in my seat, Greg Taylor going like that. Get up, you.
I can see Greg Taylor. And Liam Scales tag teaming the Rockers for WWF, man, like Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels, man, and just drop kicking you right in the chin, man.
And I see angles, I'm like, Arnie,
and he's up in Rose Head.
Aye. They're going to take a running for a half-eye line and slide. But I don't mind. It's maybe because I'm big enough and ugly enough for this. I don't mind getting a wee bit back. See if you give it to a player. For me, he's very well within his rights to turn around and say, what you saying now? And see if he's doing that, or is that abusive? Is anybody really going to take offence to something like that? I mean, come on. The media, Ryan talks about this quite openly and quite often, but the media look for any turn at all to have a go at Celtic, regardless of where it is. And we've seen it through the years. I mean, you've told me for years, like, how it used to be when you were younger.
Okay.
As soon as Celtic won, it used to be like if Celtic won one title, Rangers won 5. It was just, they used to just add it on, And then you've got Chris Boyd sitting with Chris Sutton saying, we've still won the most. And Sutton says, I get a year.
Yeah,
he wasn't lying, was he?
No.
So, as John Higgins says to the BBC, well, that's us 54 ahead of our rivals now, innit? So,
nice one.
He's in the BBC studio after winning his last match, and that's what he says. You'll be happy then because Celtic won the title today. And he says, aye, that's us 54 ahead of our biggest rivals, so we're doing all right, aren't we? And John Parrott was howling. He's like, you get a wee dig in there, didn't you? He's like, no, it's telling the truth. I'm not getting a dig in.
Brilliant.
So, but what do you think with that one in terms of players dishing out with it, a wee bit back? Are you all right with that, or do you think they should try and avoid?
No, I'm all right with the players nowadays. See, in my day, like big Tommy Gemmell and all that, if you gave him a bit of stick, you just come right and crack you right in the jaw. Simple as. Do you know what I mean? I mean, nowadays it's so different now, like say Coon on Saturday, giving it all that. I like all that. You know what I mean? It's just a release for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He gets that. That's one way he gets it off his system. Or gets it out his system. You know what I mean? Probably giving it all that. But no, I'm fine with that. If you give it to him, he's entitled to give it back. Simple. Yeah. That's just the way life is, and that's the way it should be. And I wouldn't criticise any player that done it. Do you know what I mean? Never.
Yeah, it's spot on. I mean, I'm a total same. I've said to you guys plenty of times, regardless if it's Adam Ida, Greg Taylor, Dick Barigter, whoever it might have been, if you're abusing him and he goes and scores a spectacular goal, he's well within his rights to come back and just give you a wee wink or a wee wave or a wee something. And that's very minute compared to, like I've just mentioned, Eric Cantona. Whatever that guy says to him, man, I don't know. He'll think twice to ever mouthing after somebody again if that's...
Well, it cost Big Cantona 9 months, didn't it?
Aye.
The game.
Aye, it did.
9 months. Put the game in a heavy fine.
You look at Big Duncan Ferguson, I know he's one of the guys that would just fill you in as well. Do you know what I mean? He would just, the way he spoke on that.
Duncan doesn't take any prisoners, man.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. And
Ryan does.
John McStay, he just stuck in it. He ended up getting 3 months in the jail.
Aye, he got in the jail, that's right. Aye, that's right.
3 months in the jail.
He's actually on, I don't know if any have seen it, he's on the Overlap. That's a great interview, that, by the way. He's just pure straight to the point with a lot of his stuff. And
then guys broke into his house, and that was the worst thing they ever done.
It happened it happened to him more than once. I know it didn't just happen once, but there was once when he was And that's what he's...
What happened to him when he was at Newcastle? And it happened to him when he was at Everton.
Aye.
You know what I mean? And but I don't think they guys live to tell the tale. You know what I mean?
don't think they certainly knew what was
I know
going on
I
at the
know
time.
Jerry Bullard dropped a load when he was gone for him in the tunnel. You know what I mean?
Aye.
Yeah, and he still tells that story to this day. You know what I mean? He don't mess with Big Dunk. And,
Ryan's kind of ruined their chances of ever getting Greg Taylor and Liam Skeins up to the Morven to have a chat with us on his guests and his podcast. Because, I mean, the way I've probably done the same with Rob Douglas, right enough, or Rob Douglas, as he's been called tonight.
I'm Douglas,
aye. He's Celtic's best than ever. One and truly windy cleaner they've ever had in their life, because that's all he used to do, man. He was always out washing windies, a big fella.
Windy liquor.
Aye, that I know. By the way, that I know.
But yeah, listen, there's a few players out there that have been, look, you know, like especially down south. You know what I mean? But Brian Robson, the time he just got that fan, remember?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and there's been lots.
When he was with Man United,
yeah.
Not
so much fans.
I don't know what. I never ever come out what the guy said to him, but I mean, I'm going to cracked him.
Not so much fans, but look at Lee Boy and Kieran Dyer.
Aye, they were fighting with one another on the park.
Yeah,
and two of them get sent off.
But no, I think it's one of those ones. I think you know, I think we're all happy if players can give it back. But like I says,
let off a bit of steam.
Yeah, John obviously moving.
Roy Keane and big Patrick Vieira.
Yeah, they used to go at it quite often. But John, obviously, we are going to need to move on and finish up, mate. But thanks very much for coming on and having a chat again with us.
Good to come on, talk to you,
man.
Cheers, okay. Catch you later. Hail, hail. Take care. Thank you to John for our second and final caller of the evening. Well, lads, I think we've pretty much covered the champions again. Ole, 4 in a row for the weekend. Obviously, was there anything else any of you want to add before we finish up?
I was just glad it's done, mate.
Thanks very much. I didn't realise we annoyed you that much. Jesus Christ.
Just happy the league's done, mate. Wrapped up. We move on to next week, and hopefully, obviously we'll chat during the week as we go along and build up to next week. But looking forward to next Sunday, and hopefully we can get that wrapped up, and then look forward to the rest of the season, i.e. the cup final.
Yeah, obviously Friday, our good man, Mr. Barry Bannon, is going to come on and have a chat with us on Fridays, and he's informed us. So look forward to that. Obviously, Bazzy's season finishes at the weekend as well. So he's got a bit of he's going to probably have a long summer, Ryan, isn't he?
Aye, their season finishes quite early on, doesn't it, as well. So we're going to play a lot of games, but it's because they play during the week as well, isn't it? But
he's been texting me for daddy daycare tips, man. He's been sending me messages and everything. Like, what am I meant to do now,
mate? I'm sure they will get some Sundays back, mate, once the season finished. And but no, but like I said, we'll look forward to that as the week goes on. But just glad it's finished, mate. The league's wrapped up and we can build up to next week, mate.
Yeah, Alan, do you think there'll be changes with the squad? Like, do you think Brendan will make changes with the squad now, moving, like, not so many wholesale changes, but players will come in now to keep other players ready and fit and for the cup final?
No, next week, no. I'm sure we'll dig into that, but there's not a chance that he'll... If there's anybody injured, then so be it, but it's imperative that we're next week. I'm sure we don't want to ruin that and dig into it tonight, but I'm sure during the week we'll get into the reasons why. But I think we know obviously the league's done, but against some rivals it's always a massive game. So looking forward to that. I doubt they'll see many changes in comparison to the team we played the weekend there. Obviously Jota, looks like that'll be an enforced change, but apart from that, I can't see much change, to be honest.
Yeah, I believe Yang's back as well, lads, so happy days there. I'm looking forward to seeing Yang, see what he can do in the running. Hopefully he can keep that wee form he was in before he got injured, because he was looking good. I mean, looking quite impressive. His numbers were looking good, and he was scoring, making assists, and I think that will add as well, especially if maybe Forrest isn't fully fit and ready to go. I think there's having that option. I know it's not the same quality level as Jota. However, it is another option there that you could say, right, we've got that wee bit of sturdiness again in the squad and we're no light in numbers there, because Brendan then has that flexibility, whereas if he wants, he can play Ida through the middle and move Maeda to the left, or he can play Maeda and know that he's got Forrest and Yang there to combat whatever opposition he's coming up against, right?
I think Yang obviously will come into the full quality Jota's injury, but I actually think the fact Jota's injured might actually move Maeda out wide. I think he might go wider through the middle if that's the case, but like Alan says, we can dive into that during the week and obviously let Baz go through his thoughts and his insights about the game and stuff and formations, i.e. what we can do. But no, I think it'd be good to add Yang to the squad and hopefully he can continue his numbers and hopefully thrive to the end of the season, mate.
100%. And just about time, but we are up for the night. So thank you to everybody that's tuned in with us across the platforms. Hope you had a good start to your week today on a Monday. Lads, cheers. It's been good talking to you again about Celtic. And thanks to my callers as well for calling in tonight.
That's been good, mate. Good to chat about obviously winning the league. So, we'll see you all during the week and enjoy your rest of your champion Monday night.
Yeah,
Right,
take
magic.
care. Hail, hail. We'll see you all later. Bye-bye,
See you
guys.
later.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.